Thank you everyone for joining us today for this live about nutrition and morning sickness, which is a great topic, a big topic. I'm just going to start with a very short introduction for those of you who don't know me yet. My name is Carol. I am the founder of Parentally, and Parentally is a platform dedicated to the well-being of parents. So we help expectant and new parents find all the extra care and support they may need during pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and their first years as parents. And today we're going to talk about nutrition and morning sickness with one of our Parentally member, Amélie. Sorry, Amélie, you are a certified nutrition coach. Would you like to maybe start by introducing yourself?
Yeah, sure. So maybe first on the personal part, I'm Belgian. I've lived in Amsterdam for 7 years and I have 3 children. And I work as a pre and postnatal nutritionist. So throughout the whole prenatal and postnatal journey, from trying to conceive to being pregnant to having a baby.
Amazing. And you've been with us since the beginning of Parentally, and I'm very grateful for that. And you have great tips to share with us today about morning sickness and how what we eat can help with this. But maybe before we start, can you tell us about what is morning sickness actually? What do we call morning sickness?
Yeah. Maybe first a word on the word morning sickness. Because it is not totally accurate, and women who have been there, and I'm one of these, for my 3 children, I've experienced it, and for many women it's really not over after morning. And for me personally, it started as soon as I opened my eyes, and then it went crescendo throughout the day until the strongest in the evening. So I feel that for some women it can even be a little bit frustrating to hear morning sickness when you're experiencing that the whole day. So, but there's a new term that is more used now, and it is nausea and vomiting in pregnancy. And that's actually exactly what it is. So it's either feeling nauseous, so you can feel nauseous throughout the day without vomiting, and then you can also have both. But it is unfortunately very common. So 80% of women will experience some kind of morning sickness throughout their pregnancy. And then you have a more severe form, which is called hyperemesis gravidarum. Kate Middleton had that. That's the way that many people heard about it for the first time if they hadn't experienced it. And that is 1 to 2% of women have that, and that is really very severe a form of nausea, vomiting. So it's really hard to keep things in, and sometimes it can even require medical intervention. But for most of us, it is feeling nauseous and vomits or not during the pregnancy.
And when does it usually start in pregnancy? Is it early on, or?
For me personally, it was the way I knew that I was pregnant. So it started at week 1 or 2, but on average it starts at 6 weeks. And usually for most women, 60% of women, it is until, it's the first trimester. So usually it stops around 12 to 14 weeks. And then for 10% of women, it goes beyond 20 weeks. So some women have it the whole pregnancy.
And so the big question, how can nutrition and what we eat actually help with that? The symptoms?
Well, unfortunately, there's not one food that I can recommend or one supplement even. For some women, that's probably the most known for, to ease nausea is to have some ginger. So some women, for me personally, it didn't help at all. I have some clients for whom it doesn't help, but other clients will say like it really helps to sip on infused water with ginger or some tea. You can even take ginger capsules, so more as a supplement, that can help. And then there's another well-studied supplement that also helps certain women, not all, and it's vitamin B6. So that can also be helpful. So that is on the, the quicker fixes. Other than that, it is more like playing the detective, trying to figure out what works for you and also what triggers your symptoms. So for some women, and usually women naturally are very good at listening to their body. And okay, this morning I woke up, or I got up a little bit quicker than usual, and I have more nausea, so I'm not going to do that again. It can also be that if you have water with your too much water while you eat, that can also increase some nausea. For some women, it's certain smells. So some women can eat certain foods or dishes if it's prepared by somebody else when they weren't at home and they didn't smell it. But if they have to cook it themselves, then it doesn't work. For some women, it's eating only cold things, like even very cold, like ice popsicles or ice cubes, that kind of thing. So it's really trying to figure out what helps for you. But as a general rule, something that I always recommend is try to keep your blood sugar as stable as possible. Because when your blood sugar goes up, it will naturally decrease or go down. And it's especially low blood sugar that triggers or that can amplify your nausea. And so for some women, that is, naturally they're drawn to sugar. So usually in that first trimester when you don't feel well, some women are drawn to salty, sour pickles foods, which usually helps better with nausea. For me, when I was pregnant with my two first, I was still working and I had a lot of meetings. I very often had to call clients. And so for me to get me through that meeting, I had to, that's what I thought, but I ate like sweet things and Mars bars and that kind of things, like things that I usually never eat. And it really gave me that boost to get me through, the next 15-minute call or half an hour. But then I crashed, and then my nausea was worse. So then I put more oil on the fire, and that is something that I don't recommend doing. Now with the knowledge I have, it's really try to do the opposite and try really to stay away as much as possible from sweet sugar, so anything with sugar or anything like refined carbs. And that is hard because usually when you have this nausea, you are naturally drawn to crackers, rice crackers, things that don't taste too much, and anything red carbs. Usually that is like the kind of foods that women think of, but that will spike your blood sugar. So not the ideal choice. I know it's hard. It's hard. Probably women who are watching this now and hear me talk about food already have like, oh. And it's so personal for everybody. So it's difficult. With my clients, we really spend a lot of time trying to figure out like what works for you. What do you need? How can you get that in? So it's really a puzzle and a detective.
I can imagine. I have stupid question, but what are refined carbs exactly? What is it?
It is, if you, in a very easy term, it's anything white. So white rice, white pasta, white, but it's good you ask, white bread, that kind of thing. So it has been refined. So it means that they have taken out some fiber. These are the carbs that are croissant, for instance, and they are very, very appealing to women when they feel nauseous. But they will instantly boost your blood sugar, which means that it will go down afterwards as well.
And is it a good idea to keep on eating like the usual breakfast and lunch and dinner, or is it better to eat little amounts regularly? And doesn't
it is really what works for you. But for most women, switching to more snack-like meals, smaller meals throughout the day is better. So for most women, that's what will help them. It's to eat more often and small quantities.
I see. And when eating really becomes an issue, like you eat but you cannot keep it, what would be? Is there anything to pay attention to, like things you should really try to get into your diet? Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Well, the first thing is hydration. That's really the top priority. And if that doesn't, if that is your number one priority, if that doesn't work, then you might require medical care. And for some women, that is, sipping on ice cubes and trying to get that hydration in. If that works, and for most women, this is not too much of a problem. What I recommend when you have nausea and it's really hard for you to get all these good nutrients in that you know your baby needs, it's to focus on having a really good prenatal multivitamin.
Okay.
And so there are a few brands that I recommend and that are very, well, they have very bioavailable nutrients, which are easier to absorb. And they also have it in higher quantities. So because you don't have this fallback of a very good diet with lots of vegetables and so on, you really need more of certain nutrients. So that's why there are certain prenatal multivitamins that do that. And they are designed also for women. Well, they can be taken by any pregnant woman, but they're really good for these women who have nausea and vomiting. And so they also designed liquid forms and gummies, because for some women it's even hard to swallow the pill when they feel so nauseous. So these gummies and these liquids can help them. So once you have this covered, then we look at, okay, what don't you have apart from hydration and then all these nutrients from your multi? And so that is actually protein, fat, and fiber. And so that is really, protein for me is the most important, because you know, protein is what builds your baby, and that's what you're doing. So it's really looking at, okay, how with very small amounts, how can you get that protein in? So we really look at all the different meals, and you know, is it adding a little bit more nuts or hemp seeds, like the small seeds that are very high in protein, little cubes of cheese. So it will be different for everyone, but yeah, it's looking at how can you get that protein in. Fat is also an important one, but also, you know, tiny bits. Doesn't have to be a full avocado. It doesn't have to be a, you know, a big portion of olives, but 1-2 olives a day, a little bit of olive oil, that kind of things. And then, and that's also to reduce the risk of having constipation, because if you're not eating a lot, that can be a side effect. Is also to see how can you get some fiber in. So most women don't eat lots of vegetables and fruit in those first months, because that's really, you know, not very appealing. So then we go and see how through other nutrients or foods they can get this fiber in.
I see.
So, yeah,
that's very interesting. And I think me, when I was pregnant, I really didn't pay attention to all these things, but I definitely should have. And I think it could really have helped with the nausea, the constant nausea, you know, from morning to the evening. I would be very interested in knowing, like, when a mother comes to see you in pregnancy, how does it work? Basically, when they consult with you, how can you help them with this?
Yeah, it really depends when they contact me. If they contact me at the beginning of their pregnancy and they, well, whether they have nausea or not, but I suppose that women watching this video will be more in that category. I always start with doing a full assessment. So based on some blood work, to see if you have reserves built up before pregnancy, and to see where you need more during pregnancy. I also look at your current diet, any other symptoms, any symptoms you may have, like frequent headaches or digestive issues, so that I have the full picture. And then based on that, we start working together, and then it's really seeing each other every 3 weeks usually, and then you know, working on the needs and within the boundaries of, you know, nausea or not, what we can work with, and it's looking at in pregnancy at the needs of the mom, the needs of the baby, and then also how can we get the mom's body, you know, in shape for the after baby or labor, and then also postpartum, to make sure that you don't have big deficiencies, that everything, you know, is good, so that you can better cope with sleepless nights and hormone drops and that kind of things.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, of course, makes sense. It's really, yeah, we don't say this enough, but we prepare for birth, but it's also very important to prepare for the postpartum.
Yeah.
I think it would be amazing if you would be willing to share your recommendations of vitamins, the ones that you like. And to finish this live, I like to ask this question: what would be your golden tip for expecting mothers who have morning sickness?
Yeah, well, don't beat yourself up. Also, like it is okay, and for me personally, I wasn't eating well in the first trimester, and that's okay too. Like, do as well as you can, but don't feel too guilty. And also women who have been in this stage for maybe already 3 months and are still feeling this, that there's a lot of guilt that will come with the baby anyways. So don't feel that guilt now. And the thing is also, nature is very well designed, and so your baby, especially in that first trimester, will get what it needs, because you know, and the better your nutrition was before pregnancy, the easier that is for both your baby but also for you, because it's not taxing everything that you have. You still have some for you as well. But you know, nature is really amazing, and I'm always fascinated by, you know, how well our bodies are designed, especially during pregnancy. So yeah, don't feel too guilty, and do whatever you can, but don't feel guilty.
I love this tip. I think it's the best tip. Thank you so much, Amélie. Thank you so much. Is there this live has been recorded, and I will share it. Is there anything else you would like to share before we finish it?
No. Well, if you or if listeners have any questions, they can always send me a DM. I'm always happy to respond, and I do respond to every message. And yeah, let's get in touch if you have questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Amélie, for doing this with me today, and thank you everyone who watched this video. I will share it on the feed very soon, and along with, of course, the contact details of Amélie, whom you can also find on Parentally. Don't forget to follow us for more lives like this, and I wish you all a beautiful week, and see you soon. Thank you, Amélie.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye.
Carol.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.